Welcome to Dakshana, even though you've been here for a while. Why don't we get started?
Hello, Monish. I am Sirvenla Sintati from Eluru, Andhra Pradesh. And my question is, what are the academic principles or strategies that makes a difference between number one business person and a normal business person? Thank you.
I think the important thing for making a business truly exceptional and great, most businesses are not exceptional and great, is if the founders and the people running the business adhere to a set of very core principles. And no matter what happens, they stick to those principles. So most people, when they form a business, their focus is to make money. It's the wrong focus. Right there, they have lost the battle. If your objective in starting the business is that you will become very rich and whatever, you will not become that rich. What should be the purpose of the business is that it does something amazing for the customer. It does something amazing for the employees. And it does something amazing for the vendors and other people who supply it. And if it does all of that, then it will end up making a lot of money. So we don't have this company in India, but we have companies in India that have copied this company. And in fact, you are benefiting from the copying that has been done. So there's a retail store chain in the US called Costco, and it doesn't exist in India. Costco does not yet have any stores in India. They may never have any stores in India. But we have stores in India called DMart. And many of you have heard of DMart. And DMart copied a lot of principles of Costco. And Mr. R.K. Damani, who is the founder of DMart, visited Dakshana Valley a few years back. And DMart and the Damani Foundation support Dakshana. So actually, you are a beneficiary of generosity of an exceptional business person. So what does Costco do that is different from other people, right? So Costco has a rule that anything they sell in their store cannot be marked up more than 15% above their cost. So if they buy something for 100 rupees, they will not sell it for more than 115 rupees. And in that 15 rupees, they have to cover all their costs, right? Normally for stores and retailers, the 15 is too small a margin because there are so many overheads and people and rent and all that. But Costco sticks to that. Okay, that 15% is the maximum, right? And the second thing that Costco does, they charge a membership fee. So if you are going to shop at Costco, you have to be a member. So they may charge you like 200 rupees a year or 300 rupees a year to be a member. Okay. After you become a member, then you can shop there and the maximum markup is 15%. Okay. And Costco has very large scale. It does hundreds of billions of dollars a year of business. So when they go buy something, they are buying such a large quantity that they get a very low price. But no matter how much money they save on when they buy it, they don't mark up more than 15%. So for example, one time there was a big overstock of these designer Levi jeans. These jeans normally are $30, $40 per jean. Okay. They got this tens of thousands of jeans for $9. Everybody else sells it for $50. Their cost is $9. So some of the managers told the founder that even if we charge $30, it is very cheap for the customer. Customer cannot get that price anywhere. So the founder said, we cannot do that. We will violate the trust with the customer. They sold the jeans for $10. Within 2 days, all the jeans are gone, right? Customer is saying, we cannot get anything at this price. Okay. But what that principle has done for them is that people have complete faith and trust in Costco. So Costco is not really a shop. It's more like a buying agent. It is your buying agent. It goes and buys things at a very low price. It does a very small markup and gives you all the benefit. DMart basically studied the Costco model. They studied the Walmart model. These are very exceptional retailers, which are very principle based. And they copied that model. And nobody can compete with DMart. So if a DMart store opens someplace, all the neighboring stores will go out of business. Why will they go out of business? Because they're not used to providing at that price. They're not used to selling at that price. Why is DMart able to sell at that price? Because what Costco does is average large store may have 20,000 different items. Costco only has 3,000. So they will not stock 6 sizes of toothpaste. They only stock one size. So they get big discount on that one size, right? And DMart does the same thing. The selection is lowered, the price is lowered, the deal is always good. And all the competitors they have, they don't think like that. They want immediate money. If they get a $9 jeans, they want to sell for $30, $40, make a lot of money right away. And so the businesses that do the best are the ones that are thinking very long term. They're the ones that are focused on the money is secondary. They're focused on other things, which will make the customer very loyal to them. And one customer very loyal to them, then everything is no problem. And it's kind of like Arvind Eye Care. Even if you're a rich person, you want to go to Arvind, not to save money. It's okay to save money, but because their complication rate is lower. Their doctors have 10 times more experience than any other doctors. That same doctor is doing one procedure forever, too good at it, and has more experience than doctors with many more years of experience. So, next question.
Hello, Monish. I am Falgun from Nellore district of Andhra Pradesh. My question is it possible for a person to achieve grand success without any connections with influential people? And is the lack of information about possible opportunities the major reason for majority of people staying in poverty? Thank you.
You don't need to know anyone to do well. In fact, usually knowing people is a negative because you will be depending on them. Like he was depending on me. Now he's so disappointed he cannot rely on. Don't depend on Monish. Monish is useless. Cannot do anything. So, yeah, I think knowing people is not relevant. What is relevant is that you are flexible, you have some burning desire. So there's a quote from the Upanishads few thousand years back. I'll give you the translated version. As is your wish, so is your will. As is your will, so is your deed. As is your deed, so is your destiny. And then they put it all together and say, your deepest desire is your destiny. Okay. So what that quote is saying is that if you are totally focused on something, just obsessive about it, and you execute on it, it is very unlikely that you will fail. The universe will conspire to help you. There's another quote by Swami Vivekanand, more recent, and I don't remember the exact quote, but I'll try to remember parts of it. And the quote is that take up one idea, make that idea everything for you. Every nerve, muscle, and cell in your body is focused on that one idea, and you leave every other idea alone. And that is the way to success. So, in both these quotes, there's no mention of who you know. It's only mentioning about what is your focus and how badly do you want something. So, if you have an intense focus, many times when you guys send me questions that you have for me, I get a lot of questions about how do I become a good investor? And I think to myself, are they asking that question because that is the singular and only thing they are ever going to be interested in for the next 90 years of their life? And they'll spend 80 hours a week on it. Or are they asking me that question because I happen to have a focus in that area? I think mostly it is the second reason. I don't think it is the first reason. So if you had a desire to be a truly exceptional investor, you don't need to ask anyone anything. So someone was 19 years old and asked Mozart. Mozart was a very famous composer of music. So he asked Mozart, how do I compose a great symphony? It's a complicated piece of music. So Mozart told him, you are too young to compose a symphony. You're only 19, too young. So the guy told Mozart, you wrote your first symphony when you were 6 years old. Mozart said, yes, but I was not going around asking people how I should write it, right? So if you want to be the best brain surgeon or the best cataract surgeon or the best investor or the best rocket scientist, you can figure it all out. You don't need to ask anyone anything. You can just figure it out. And the only question is, are you willing to do 100 hours a week on it for 80 more years? Full on, nothing else, right? If you're willing to do that, it'll happen. If you're not willing to do that, then such is life. You'll be in the shallows for a long time. Next question.
Hello Monish, I am Arpit Kumar Sharma from Jamshedpur, Jharkhand. I am pleased to ask you a question about the pathway to get into the field of entrepreneurship. I know that you have been in this field for a very long time, and I also want to get into this, but it feels kind of tough to me to get into this without such a background. So, what could be the initial steps for me that could be helpful for me to get into this and achieve my planned goals? Thank you.
So, already you know the quote from the Upanishads. You already know what Swami Vivekanand said. If your most burning desire is to be a successful entrepreneur, it will happen. The first step towards doing that is to identify offering gaps. Offering gaps means that something that should exist in the world but does not. Those are kind of hard. But what may be a little easier way to get to offering gaps is someone else is doing something smart and there should be 3 more of those. So we don't need to come up with our own offering gap. We can look at other offering gaps. So what I would suggest to you is that I think it's better for you guys to stay focused on the JE and NEET Chucky Piso for at least 3 years till you get to like third year or something. Once you get to third year, then if you send me this question, I will give you some book recommendations that will help you. So there are some books which have been written which explain how different entrepreneurs got started in different ways. And some of those books are very useful because you can see that journey. And then that will explain to you how to think about it. But the important thing is think small. First, you think small, something that can be started small and then later can be scaled up. So I think DMart for more than 8 or 10 years was just 3 or 4 stores. It took them a long time from there to scale, but initially they were fixing their model. And so I think that's the key is that if you have an intense burning desire, there are offering gaps. Like I would say that what Dr. V did with cataract surgery can be done for many other medical procedures, right? That model is a very powerful model. And that model can be applied in many different areas. And so that's one area to focus on if you are on the medical side. And similarly on the engineering side, I mean, I think that just be an observer of what is going on around you, what people are doing around you, and take it from there. Let's go to the next question.
Hello, Manish. My name is Abhishek Kumar. I am from Aurangabad, Bihar. My question is, how can a person with zero balance start a startup to elevate their own poverty as well as of their village and India? How and with what amount did you start a startup? Thank you.
You don't need any money. In fact, if you have money when you start a business, it will fail because you will spend it stupidly. So it is an advantage to not have anything. And it's an advantage to be tight and to think small. And I think that if you study the great entrepreneurs across many different industries over many different decades, and you go back to the beginnings of what they were doing, you will find that they had hardly anything, didn't really have any resources or did not come from wealthy background or anything, but they were very hardworking and they were creative and they figured out things that people wanted and they went from there. Next question.
Hello Monish, I am Adesh Suryavanshi from Shajapur, Madhya Pradesh. So, as we all are studying here for education, skills and money, our ultimate focus after leaving Dakshana is to become like you and contribute to the society. Also, we want a better lifestyle after Dakshana. So, my question is that how can we become a successful person by using our skills and knowledge and become expert in money making? Thank you.
I mean, I think that, like I said, if it is your main focus and you figure out core mental models to be successful in business, you have to be extremely honest. So what the thieves don't understand, that if they were honest, they would be so much wealthier. And so honesty is not just the best policy. Honesty is the most lucrative policy. It'll make you the wealthiest, actually. So if you understand the mental models of copying and cloning, of honesty and trustworthiness, of compounding, and many other models that you will figure out on your own, and you start overlaying them together, it just cascades on itself. And it's something that you should keep in mind. The other thing is that when you make small bets, like you have a job and you're making a bet on the side, and that startup doesn't work. In my case, the first 3 startups I did not work. But the total money that went into all 3 together would be less than $1,000. So almost no money went into them. The fourth one also took very little money, but it worked. So if you have a job, you can do startup number 1 while you have your job. Doesn't work, no problem. Startup number 2. You can do infinite number of startups. And if you stick to the principles, etc., something will work. And each one of those that you try is going to teach you something. And the payoffs are asymmetric, right? So if it works extremely well. And if it doesn't work, your downside is limited. So that's another good model to have where if you fail, it has no impact. And if you succeed, it has a huge impact. And so that also works very well. So thank you so much. And I wish you all the best. Stay focused on the Chucky piece for some time. So thank you.